So anyway, so they moved, decided it was going to be Vighi that was going to do the Kukuzegavas after, because he could, his attachment, his participation in the failed first effort at a fake left explanation was not noticed by anyone because nobody knew who he was or cared what he thought. And so anyway, so the thing was put out. I think there were 2 articles and a couple of talks. And I've noticed that people react to them, and I know exactly. I know there'll be people listening here who reacted to them, and this is how they felt. They felt, oh yeah, that's right. Yes, this is what I've been waiting for. This is the left analysis. Um, yeah, I like it. It blames the right people in the right way. It puts the order of importance of basic superstructure and the kind of social forces at work back in the right order. And it takes account of adult subjects, which is the stock market and the Fed repo program. It has a systemic uh, um, seriousness, that he grounds everything in financialization and stuff, and this is good. This is right. But I hope nobody asked me to explain it because I couldn't. Because it's fuzzy. I'm not sure how it fits together. I'm sure that's my fault because I'm ignorant, because I don't know about finance, because it's too hard for me. And he brings in Lacan, but I know if I feel good with it, I'm gonna support it. It especially that it puts me in the right position that I want to be in against them, the perpetrators. It doesn't name anyone. It doesn't ask me to embarrass myself with a plot theory. And yet there is an implied plot. Everything is there for me. The only problem with it is I don't get it. I don't quite get it. How I couldn't explain it. I'm not sure why. And I don't know how he arrived at it. And of course, that's what it's supposed to make you feel, because it's absolute total horseshit. It's a con job. It's arrant nonsense, but it is made out of little bits of reality and the truth and other critiques, but it's deliberately delivered in a way to just using Lacan in that way, and Lacan works like this all the time, to give you a sense that you're hearing something that's a little over your head. But you trust it because it's adorned itself in the right kind of attitude, intellectually, professionally, politically, culturally. And if Vighi wasn't such a little rat-faced sort of ferret character, I think even more people would have fallen for it. I mean, one of the things is his affect is so obviously fraudulent and stupid. But apart from that, there's a reason that this stuff has succeeded, and with the audience that it's aimed at. But you'll notice also it can't expand. He won't go into a dialogue with anyone who has any idea what they're talking about in terms of the Fed policy, the real concrete things, or financialization itself, or capital, or anything, real politics. He can't. So he won't. It's interesting because he stripped a lot of stuff from me. I mean, there's actual plagiarism at the beginning, but mainly he put his stuff together. He uses the vocabulary, but he misuses it of some of the better right-wing libertarian type finance people, the Gold Bug Circle, Catherine Austin Fitts, who's a real dissident, politically problematic people or politically narrow people, who know what they're talking about, though. They actually know what the Fed was doing. They know how to research what data is available. They also know what we're not allowed to know. They know what's secret. It's like the Fed balance sheet and stuff. and they know how banks work. And he won't engage them. He won't cite them. But like for example, he used this word where he said, "Oh, our system, financialization. After we financialize," and he puts it in a completely psychologized Lacanian framework. He says our society is addicted to um, infusions of money or something like that. And at first I heard that and I said, "Oh, that's just coming from the Zizekian gambits of, attributing a psyche to capitalism or capital or whoever, or their society, America, whatever, Wall Street." But it actually it was from John Titus, who's very, very helpful commentator, sort of a gold bug, not really a gold bug, just like a lawyer who's a Fed watcher. And he's kind of a Rand Paulish libertarian. They have like very fucked up ideas, but he knows what he's talking about, and he comments in a very limited way that's very useful. Anyway, so he uses that term addiction for the state of financial institutions, but also states that have when they go through periods of asset devaluation and income squeeze, but they have a big nut. So they actually have to borrow to pay, it's a danger zone, they have to borrow to pay their nut. So this literally meaning your family might be, and everyone's been through this, your family might be addicted to a credit card. Your home economics, right? Your economy, your family's economic situation or finances is addicted to the credit card because the income is not matching the outgoings. And this is something that I think Charles Dickens made a very pithy statement about this. Like, I'll have to find it for the next thing. Anyway. So Vighi would take that, he takes those words that when John Titus is using them are really, really useful when he says this, because he's also talking about what is motivating, actors who are able to influence policy. And he has a slightly, I'm not even going to criticize him, it's just really useful. But, what the state would be like right now, the U.S. government, the income, the tax revenue is this year going to be less than this is what the debt ceiling, debates are about, is going to be less than the nut, the outgoings, the absolute non-negotiable outgoings, which are the interest on the debt and the obligations. Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. That's the federal government has absolutely must pay these things. And then, of course, it has the political necessities of its, defense budget, etc. But if it, the federal government gets itself into a position where it has to borrow to pay the nut, just like and then you have, a situation where you'd have drastically increase it. It's a path to insolvency because you'd have a drastically increasing debt, of course. So this is the situation, obviously, that the ruling classes deliberately put the U.S. government in. But also now, that's a separate thing. Everybody knows about that. But this is what they were doing. They are going to do. These are some of the tactics they're going to use to eliminate retail banking. And if you want to know where they're going, there's or where they hope to go. There's the document from, I forget, was it BlackRock or somebody doing the going direct reset. And then there was the Omarova, who was nominated, a failed nomination for the controller of the currency. Biden failed nomination. She's a Soviet-trained lawyer and very smart, actually. She really understands money, what it is. Somebody trained her in, a Marxist because that's another thing is like you can't if you don't understand what money is, if you don't, only Marxism can explain what they're able to do now and what they're trying to do. But anyway, so Omarova wrote this paper called The People's Ledger. She wrote some good papers actually before that. She's not stupid. She's a lawyer, law professor. But they're in the Vanderbilt Law Review and another law review. Anyway, she wrote this paper, The People's Ledger, that explains where they want to go, basically, which is to eliminate retail banking and leave only the feds and maybe the federal home loan banks, which is another little level. So the Fed banks there's 12 of them, but the only one that is the Fed, when we talk about the Fed, is the New York Fed. And then there, in America, and this is going to happen worldwide, but just in the United States, there's, I really don't know, 4,000 or 5,000 banks, retail banks. And they want to eliminate them for a host of political reasons, but also, a structural necessity to, as I described before all this started in 2018 and 2019, the objective for the ruling class now to get out of its contradictions, to get out of, the vaunted unsustainability of capital and capitalism. They have to separate, after they did their fixes, their big heists they accomplished with the massive reconquest of the earth and the financialization at the same time, which allowed them to get into the position there now. But now they need to separate wage money from capital liquidity to eliminate the rest of the obstacles to abolishing the current conditions, which are already, people have been saying late capitalism for a long time, but we're at vestigial capitalism, and to institute the new system that already is pretty much in place at the commanding heights.